Welcome, friends, gamers, and other enthusiasts to the BoydofZINJ channel. I hope you enjoy your time here and the video. Please like, subscribe, do all the bell icons, and comment. It really does help small content creators like myself and others by doing so. If you click on the notifications, it may even let others and the YouTube gods know that they may enjoy these videos. With that being said, let's play.
This is Humankind, a 4X strategy game, very similar to the Civilization series, but different. I do like it. I hope you enjoy it, friends. This is episode 001 of Humankind, a new series. It's a 4X strategy game. We're continuing our saga in the Neolithic era, which is technically the start of the saga. Now, I did an audible. I decided to replay the start. I didn't like the start. I took a look at it and said, it was no good. And that happens, right? You know, if you take a look at it and you don't like it, just restart the game. So I restarted the game. Now, the reason I'm here is this: at the end, I found out there is an area you can see the game settings, and I want to make sure you're aware of the game settings. The picture in the background is kind of a small spoiler. Okay, game options. So we still have the science victory. That's still the same. The difficulty is still Empire. Peaceful mode is still no. Game speed is still endless. The pollution effects are on, which is what we're using. The calendar effects, Gregorian, whatever. Road side is still huge. Road shape is custom. And the reason why it's custom, and I'm catching up. Remember, this is a voiceover. I'm technically for the future. I already played this. Is because I specifically had specific information. Continent shape, spread, form, all regular. Climate, standard. Land percentage, this is a small change. I meant to put 60, but it stayed on 50. Number of continents, 5. Remember, there's 9 enemies plus myself, so there's a total of 10 opponents on this field. There's a new world, so I think that means there's technically 6 continents. There's a game seed. I'll leave it in the game channel. If you want to play with me, you're welcome to. Everything else is relatively the same. Strategic resource amount, abundant. Luxury resource amount, normal. Luxury resource distribution, standard. Elevation, standard. Everything else is the same. So I just want to show that to you. So let's start the actual gameplay. The images you just saw was actually from the future. This is now technically the past. When I started playing, I kept it the same, with that one minor change about the land to water ratio. Instead of 50%, it's supposed to be 60, but I left it at 50 by accident. Whoops. I only have one save on this, which is the start of the game, turn 1. We're starting the Neolithic era. At the end of this episode, we'll be in the classical era. But let's worry about the Neolithic era. Okay, so this is the start. We're at the very beginning. If you never played Humankind before, you have 3 goals, which is top left. Either get enough food to grow your troops to, I think, we're on endless. So it's a higher number than if you're playing, let's say, a fast-paced mode. Then there's also a science indication and the number of kills. Number of kills is very goofy. In the Neolithic era, it's hard to find kills or it's very easy. It depends on the RNG. In this gameplay, I didn't see enough enemies to even kill. So it's impossible for me to get that high number.
Move.
Food on water. It gives more food than food on land. So you'll notice,
Sustenance, security, and pleasure.
yeah, food.
Wonderful stuff, this simple food.
So this simple food would have given me more if it was either on a river or in a water area. Because it was on a clear land area, it didn't give me as much. But still food. Once I get a maximum of 40 food, I can grow another troop, which will count as a victory point. Now, you need to at least accomplish 1 victory point in this era to progress. The more victory points you get, the more fame you get. Ideally, you want to get at least the science one, and preferably the food as well. So that way you can grow a lot of troops. Having troops early into the next era helps out tremendously. So we're just exploring, and then I see the food again, so I'm going to go for it. Another thing, if you notice, the bottom icon is science. The top icon is food. I'm prioritizing food before science. If I can get another troop created, that'll be two people I can, control. Of course, I don't see anything else, so I'm also just go for the science.
Just because a culture died out doesn't mean it wasn't worthy of study.
And lots of the sciences also give you culture. And I'm sorry, influence. Influence is on top right. It's that purple star. Once you get, I believe it's 20, you can create an outpost. Creating an outpost will eventually grow into a city. It's a very unique mechanic. Now it's asking what type of people I want. Do I want to have extra influence? That'll be pretty useful. I go for the food and get an extra troop real fast. Now I have 2 troops, so I can explore the land twice as much than if I just had 1 troop. And sometimes exiting out, I always kind of forget the commands. It's a little goofy on how you separate. It is what it is. Okay, so I have 1 troop going south. And when you're on the water, like I said, it takes a full turn to get on the water, regardless if it's at the start of your turn or at the end of your turn. So it's best to try and get it at the end of your turn.
This way.
Then I notice, oh look, a curiosity. I probably should have got it with the other people, but whatever. So I'm starting to explore north now. So should I go north or should I go south? I decide to go north for whatever reason. I don't think it really matters, but this is the way I'm going. I'm going to speed up until it gets a little interesting. This can be a little boring. I slowed it down here because you'll notice on the left-hand side there's an animal I could attack, but those elephants are so powerful. It usually takes 2 troops, and I only have 1 troop there, so it's not worth attacking. If I can take it down, it's a lot of food. And then on the right-hand side, I see food, which I'm prioritizing, and then there's a science curiosity to the south. I could keep on going north, but I saw something to the south. At least I saw it. Now, did my previous character see it? I don't think so. And that happens. I'm looking at it. Remember, this is voiceover from the future. So I'm seeing it from a fresh point of eyes. So we missed science on the south that we could have took. So that's my fault. I didn't notice it. And there's no Russian turning, so there's no reason for me to miss it. Now, in Humankind, you get these questions they'll ask you. And I decided to go with that answer. Let's look at it again. He gave me several weird options. I could take 15% off, which is nothing for research of 1 science that is later on that I'm not going to use very often. Or I could take Swift, which increases the speed of one of my units. And speed is important right now. So, there's food, but I have to kind of go around. And that's fine. That's the way how it happens. Now, I see what looks like a science curiosity, so I'm going to go for it. Alright, I'm going to be quiet as we look at my gameplay until something important happens.
This way.
I'm on it.
We move. Onward. We move. This way. We move.
So my troops are kind of converging, so I'm just kind of separating them. then I noticed, oh look, there's science and food and curiosity now. And if you notice, I even picked up enough food on one of my troops to get another troop. So that's good. So I'm separating them. If you don't separate them, they'll be combined at first. And then I have enough where I can create an outpost. An outpost can grow to a city. And in the Neolithic era, you can create 2 outposts at it's actually 10 influence. And the next one, I believe, is at 40 influence. And I'm looking at it, and it gives you recommendations of where to put these outposts. 11, 18 is a very good one. Anything 10 is considered average. So 11, 18 means that that starting city or outpost will actually be 1 better in food and 8 better in production. Now production is very important too, because that's what builds stuff. But without food, you can't grow a city either. So it's one of those situations where you kind of want both, but you kind of want production first too, because without production, your city will be impotent as well. So, in my opinion, production is slightly better than food. If you had a choice between 11, 9, 11 food, 9 production, or 9 food, 11 production, I would take the 9, 11 as an example.
This way. Onward.
Now, notice what I'm doing here. Instead of grabbing the food on different units, I'm prioritizing one unit to grab the food. Why? If I would spread it out amongst multiple units, it'll take much longer. But having it on one unit means that one unit can grow a troop faster. And the more troops I get, the faster I can go to the next era. Of course, the more troops I have, the more eyes I can get on the map and find additional stuff. So it's a win-win situation, right? You want to, in the Neolithic era, you want to get as many troops as possible, so that way you can explore as much as the world as possible, so you can get more troops.
What's over there?
Now this already has food, so I'm grabbing the food. There's no reason, these two, the one that I'm picking now has food, the other one does not. So
This way.
whenever possible, I'm going to try prioritizing this unit I'm moving right now to get the food. Of course, sometimes you just can't help it. Humankind will often give you choices to pick. Story options. I have a choice between plant and grind. Plant will give me 25% domestic research costs, 25% less. Or I can get food and my one of my outposts gets an extra troop. I think that's more important than 25%.
What's over there?
We're talking about 4 or 5 turns versus, potentially, 10. Now there's
This
a
way.
lair. Lairs tend to create hostile creatures. You can destroy them by ransacking them. It takes you a full turn to ransack them when you're on top of them. And then to the south, I can see science grouse. It doesn't matter which one I'm getting. So I grab one to the north because we're heading southwards.
This way.
And I'm trying to decide, where do I want to go? My units are kind of closer together, so I want to separate them. And again,
What's over there?
luckily the unit to the south saw the food, but it's not the food unit, so I'm going to grab it with the other food unit. So I have a choice here. Both of these are not together, and it's going to take like 2 turns to get to them. Which one should I get? Now, I'm going to choose to get the one to the south because it also leads to the lair. So I could get 2 things with 1 stone. Well, eventually. I want to concentrate on what we need to progress to the next era. The nomadic tribe, the Neolithic era, requires either 10 and or 20 science. Alright. It looks like we're having our first attack. Now, in this game, melee units will do more damage if they're... Sometimes you also will do more damage if you defend as well. And I see that there is a mountain to the left, so I'm going to try and get to the high ground. I could not start there, but now either I couldn't start it or I didn't notice it. And technically the player has advantage. But because I'm defending, I have a slight advantage. The So I'm now in high ground, so both defense and offense I'm going to have a... Notice how much more damage I'm doing because I'm in the high ground. Bomb the offense and kill it off. Now in the Neolithic era, your troops regain health slowly. So eventually this troop will regain its health. And killing the bear counts as a point to killing. And if it can kill 10 animals, that's fame you can get. But again, you don't see very many animals here, so it's almost impossible. It also gives you food. So it's a win-win. And a little influence as well, which you could use to create new cities or outposts.
Onward.
The game will give you choices from time to time, story options.
By building an outpost, claiming territory is this easy. The trick, of course, is keeping it.
Now, do I want 3 science or 1 extra pop? I'm going to go for the 1 extra pop. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking I already know which race I'm going to pick, and I want to get a science race so that way I can secure science early. Remember, I kind of want to win with the science victory, so I do want to have science as a permanent, as a important thing. But remember, it's foundations. You need a good foundation to build a strong city. Otherwise, you're in trouble. I'm in lair, so I'm going to ransack it. It takes a full turn. You have to end your turn on the lair and ransack it for you to ransack it. So I have to end my turn here, which I did, and I'm ransacking it. So at the end of this turn, it'll be dead, and I get food. In this case, in the Neolithic era, it's all about food. There's no money to speak of.
Remove.
The story option gives me a choice between a decrease in 1 single science or
A first ransack.
an extra.
See the sights, appreciate the local culture, and take anything that's not nailed down.
Yay. Getting that extra troop is important. It counts as a victory point. And again, more troops you have, the more you can explore. The more you can explore, the faster you can get to the next era. So having that versus some research bonus that I'm not even at the research stage yet is meaningless. And yes, you could debate and say, well, if I got the research point, I would say like 4 or 5 turns. Even in this era, that's small potatoes. Small potatoes. An extra troop is much better. At least in this era.
What's over there?
For this next turn, we're going to concentrate on information that we're going to see on the bottom right. Focusing it, another culture has reached the ancient era with the Omnics. So that means they're now in the ancient era. I know we said we were going classical, we're actually going ancient era. It's Neolithic, ancient era, then classical. And then something else happened.
For our young. We move. This way.
Neolithic era. And yes, I'm sorry, I did post it a few times in text. I've been saying it wrong. I've been skipping the ancient era. It's Neolithic to ancient to classical. And so next, episode 2 will be ancient. Alright, so we're still exploring. We are not quite yet reaching another point. Another civilization has gone to the ancient era. Uh-oh, another civilization has gone to the ancient era again. This does not bode well. We're only about 50% there. We need to pick it up, but we're not having great luck. But it is what it is. Another civilization has reached the ancient era. From the Neolithic to the ancient. We're falling behind.
Onwards.
Do it. Uh-huh. This way. On.
We move.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Onward.
This way. On.
We move.
We move.
We picked up another science and just concentrating. We're now at 13 out of 20 for science and 6 out of 10 for troops. We need 4 more troops and or 7 more science. And spoiler warning, we're going to try and get both. In
This way.
Humankind, if you're playing a fast-paced game, you want to progress to the next era as fast as possible. In a slower-paced game, you can lose a few turns. It's better to get the fame and get 2 of the 3, or all 3 if you can. I would love to kill more animals to get the 3rd fame, but you look at it. Do you see the animals to kill? No. So RNG. And some of it is my fault because I did take those layers. If you leave the layers open, more animals will spawn. Because I took out the layers early, we're not seeing the animals. And that's something I'm going to want in the next playthrough. Oh. Do I want to do troops? Yes. Another option. Now we're at 7, I think. Or is it 8? Yes, we are 7. It just took a moment to progress. And because I now have 2 troops here, I want to attack the animals. However, they're too close together, so it's kind of risky. I'm just going to go for the ransacking.
Earth gives us strength.
First. And then hopefully I'll be able to take out the elephant one at a time. You don't want to attack 2. That's dangerous.
We move. Onward. This way. We move. Onward.
Do it. This way. Onward.
The elephants spread. I decide to attack the elephants, and it's better to attack them on high ground. Melee will do more damage to troops in lower ground. So that's exactly what
Fire
we're
be with us.
And I decided to do manual. And I'm going to position myself on the high ground. Now move my troops to the high ground. There's a potential he could go to my left side, but he doesn't. So we're we're good. I mean, I meant the elephant. Technically, it's a, what is it, a mammoth. I call them elephants, but they're really mammoths. And I'm aggressive here. High ground to low ground, we're doing more damage. And with a melee unit, is there's a melee unit, they can only move one hex adjacent. And I see that they're trying to get to
Only
that
in
open
other
space.
realms.
So I'm going to
Earth gives us strength.
try and beat the elephant or the mammoth there. I do not want the mammoth to get on the same ground as myself. And we easily kill the mammoth. You take some damage, but you'll eventually get it back. Notice how much food? We got 20 influence and 20 food. So it's almost enough to get a third troop. Or at least enough. We just killed the mammoth. And that gave us a lot of influence. Influence is used to create outposts. In the Neolithic era, you can have 2 outposts. Technically, you can go for 3, but it's unrealistic to get a third one. You have to pretty much or be killing tons of mammoths all the time to get a third outpost. And I kind of want the 2 outposts together, or very close to each other. Reason being is an outpost can be created to a city. Likewise, an outpost could be a suburb of a city and join on to a city. And the closer they are, the less influence it is for them to grow and join.
Yes.
So I'm going to look for different areas. Now, even though I said that sometimes it's beneficial to spread out your outposts so you can have 2 cities at the start. And it takes a lot of influence to grow a second city, but if you could do it, you could do it. And that means more production, more growth, more things you could build, potentially more troops. There's a lot of advantages having 2 cities. Now, the disadvantage is influence. Early on, that's the hardest, one of the hardest things to come by. Sure, you get quite a few, but it takes so many hundreds just to create suburbs and outposts and then attach them and build stuff. Oh, gee whiz. By the end of the game, you're swimming in influence. But early on, it's even harder than gold to come by, it seems. And I'm looking for different areas. There's a few good areas here. Look at that. Those are great areas. But it's kind of far from my original one that I put. And is it worth having a city that close but that far away? An outpost? No, I don't think so. I want an outpost a little closer. Outpost a little further away, I could say, okay, this would be my second city area. But there's that being that close but far is not far enough away to make another town. At least in my opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. If you think I should have created outposts there so I could have a second city. Like I said, having 2 cities might have been a better way to go. I mean, you could see my next episode and you could tell me whether or not having that second city would have made a huge difference. Who knows? It's one of those things where sometimes I wish I could go back and say, what if I did this versus that? But there's no reason to be trying that. I find that lots of times your first attempt is better than your second attempt.
Right.
For some reason. At least for me. In these strategy games, I noticed that I seem to do better. And the reason I think suspiciously why that's the case is on my first attempt, I'm doing everything I can to win. On my second attempt, I realized, okay, if I go here, I can try and get that, and then I'm trying to race myself. And in the process, I'm missing out on other things I would have gone for that would have made it worse. That makes it worse in the long run. Yeah. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. And I'm a lowly content creator. Smashing the like button, subscribing does wonders for me. I'm telling you, that's the best way to support me. I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for you to click buttons. Leave an emoji if you're shy. Write me a comment. Tell me how I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing better than you think. It really does help. And I listen to the feedback. Trust me. At this stage in game, I'm listening. I'm going to slow down the game and zoom in. You'll notice I'm looking for another spot for an outpost. And it only takes 40 influence, but more importantly, a 12-14 and 14-13. I'm looking around. Now, both of those are excellent. And you could say, well, 14-13 is obviously better. There's also positioning to think of, too. You have to kind of think ahead. You don't want to box yourself in because the more you can build stuff and the more options you have, the better long term. And 1 or 2 points isn't going to make that much of a difference. I'm just looking around different areas to see. I think this is going to be my main city. Even though I already created an outpost to the south, there's two reasons why I like this area better for a main city than the south one. The first reason is because in the south area, it has two luxury resources. Once you research luxury resources, you can use influence to build those luxury resources for free without a turn if it's its own outpost and not connected to a city. If it's connected to a city, you have to spend actual turns to build it. Now, influence is hard to come by, yes, but it's instantaneous. It's free. It's fast. So you're not spending wasting time on it. So I like that option. And that's the reason why I'm thinking of having the north side have. The second reason is the north has more resources. So if I create an outpost to the north and make that my main city, it'll be a stronger initial city because it'll take a while before I can attach that suburb, that outpost as a suburb. And I call it suburb. I mean, it's just an outpost being attached to the city. Okay, back to normal speed, and we're going to be attacking a deer. Deers are easy.
We move. Onwards.
This way.
I have enough points to progress to the next era. However, I'm not. And this could be a fatal flaw. There's two reasons why I'm not. One, I'm really close to gaining enough people to get that extra fame. Having a few extra turns in a slow period in endless is nothing. Second reason, having more troops is better than not having those troops. And these are essentially quote unquote free troops. It just takes turns and food to get them. Once you get to the ancient era and past, it's harder to get troops as free. And I'm going to skip on it. The second most important reason, this might be the third, that outpost I just created is not ready to become, is not fully built yet. It takes a few turns to build, to once you create it, actually become an outpost. And once it becomes a full-fledged outpost, it could become a city. As soon as you enter the ancient era, you have to turn one of your outposts into a city. And I want that north one, and it's not ready yet, so I'm going to have to wait a few turns and hopefully get enough troops, because I'm so close to getting enough troops to get that star. And that's what I'm going to be going for. Very close, very close. So that's my game plan. And yes, should I have gone to the next era? I still get the civilization I wanted. However, who knows? So I get a story point here. I choose the domestic cost. The others did nothing to me, and 25% less is, well, that's few turns saved. And domestic is, I believe, horses, which might be useful.
This way. What's over there? I don't see anything.
Onwards.
Acknowledged.
Zooming in, I still need 2 more turns.
This way.
I hope you can see that. I know it's a little pixelated, but it's 2 more turns.
We're looking.
And I'm keeping a troop there. Why? If you
What's
didn't
over
know
there?
that, you could disband a troop to gain an extra population. And I want to see if that's useful. But that's going to be mostly an ancient era story. But that's the game plan that I have. I'm keeping a troop there so that way in the ancient era I can disband it and give my city an advantage in population. More populations means it can grow and build stuff faster.
This way.
It's like Civilization.
What's over there?
Hopefully you all played it. Let me know in the comments if you have a
This
different
way.
strategy. Please do.
My feet.
Do it.
What's over there? This way.
I really want to get to another era. More and more, civilizations are getting to the next era. But I still need 1 more turn.
Nothing left.
All right. And I was able to get enough population, enough food to get another troop, which gives me the extra star. So I now have a great incentive to go to the next era. I have 2 of the 3, and there's no way I'm going to get the 3rd star. And my city, my outpost is just about to be ready to become a city.
Bloody and smelly, aren't they? History may be changed by battles, but that doesn't mean they're enjoyable.
This is a warrior. This civilization is already in the next era and is stronger. However, it's done some combat from something and it's severely weak. So I'm taking a big chance in attacking it. Normally, if they were all equal, this would be lost. However, because the troop was so weak, my scouts were able to overwhelm it. And why did I attack them? Losing troops is vital. That means that person is down in population and is not being able to see the board and can't defend his or her realm as effectively. All right, we can now turn this outpost to a city once we become ancient era, and even more civilizations are transferring over. So this is the time. Hopefully, I have not lost the civilizations I want. There's three civilizations I want: the Egyptians, the Habarans, and Sumerians, I believe. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to erase all my saves except for the first one and create one last one for this era. I'm going to be wrapping up the video here. This is the end of the Neolithic era. Next turn, or next, yeah, the next turn, we'll enter the ancient era, and that'll be the next episode. And we'll see whether or not it requires 2 episodes or 1. The more progressive we get towards the modern era, the longer the eras normally take. Ancient and Neolithic can be a little fast though, especially if you're playing on fast mode. But because we're playing on endless, it takes a little longer. And I could have progressed to ancient faster, but like I said, I had reasons why I didn't, and I think they were useful. Hopefully it was. Now we have more troops, more land, and we have a stronger initial city. At least that's the game plan. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. Thank you very much for continuing the journey on me with Humankind. I know not very many people are playing Humankind, but I'm telling you, Humankind, if you like Civilization, is better than Civilization 6, in my opinion. It has its own flaws, sure, but it has lots of very interesting concepts that I really enjoy. Once again, thank you.
It's that time of the video where I'd say adios. Thank you for watching. And if you're hearing this, I really like to say thank you for staying at least this long or skipping to the end. I really appreciate it. Better yet, the YouTube gods seem to enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, click on the bell icon to notification alerts. It really does help content creators like myself. I need the help. If you have any suggestions about my YouTube content or my channel or about this video, I'd love to hear it. Please leave a comment. Regardless, I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay safe, be entertained, enjoy life, and until next time, adios, goodbye. Hope your RNG is better than mine. Thank you.
All hands, initiate shutdown sequence.